Before birth, you were spirit, enlightenment, and wisdom. You lived in a cocoon of love, knowledge, and grace. You were one with Source. Everything was one, there was no separation. Then, as you longed to enter the earth plane to experience, learn, and support others, there began a slight separation, and your core being, higher self, was formed. You became more individuated from the collective oneness of Source, yet you were still very connected through what I call the enlightened observer. The enlightened observer can have many names in many cultures and religious sects, yet fundamentally it is the divine mind that is still one with everything and with Source. It is the conduit between your higher self and Source, supporting your higher self so it still receives the wisdom, unconditional love, perception, knowledge, connection, comfort, and support of Source. So although your higher self core being is more individuated, it never feels separate or alone. As your spiritual essence traveled further away from Source into the earth plane, you also traveled further away from the pure energy of higher consciousness, enlightenment, wisdom, knowledge, and the feelings of love, connection, and oneness. So at conception and birth, you entered a deeper state of separation, and you began to forget the truth of who you really are. Over time, this process of forgetting deepened because of the dense energy here on earth and because the human's form, construct, brain, nervous system, hormones, chemicals, and physical body distorts the energy. It creates an ego, false sense of self, and the ability to feel pain, insecurity, grief, guilt, shame, anger, abandonment, and many other difficult feelings, life challenges, and emotions. The lotus here symbolizes the incarnation process of moving from that quantum potential of quantum, just particles of energy, into human form. From these emotions, feelings, and life experiences since you were born, an ego-based internal programming was formed that covered over much of your divine essence and spiritual wholeness. So what was once pure energy of high vibrational consciousness of your higher self became remodeled into more dense and harsher reality. This process brought you from a place of pure consciousness where everything is made out of particles of energy into a worldview that limits you to seeing what is called a more Newtonian perspective, that of physical substance, density, and pain. In Newtonian physics, everything is solid, yet in the quantum reality, there are particles of energy, atoms, that create the world. Check out this YouTube clip that helps explain the physics of that quantum reality.
There was nothing. Somehow, out of this nothing, came everything.
Out of this vibrant nothingness, matter, energy, space, time, consciousness, mind emerged, came out.
How is it that something as unconscious as the matter of the brain can ever give rise to something as immaterial as an experience?
Then we're intimately hooked into the very existence of reality. Without us, there would just be this expanding superposition of possibilities with nothing definite ever actually happening.
Out of millions and millions of blobs of energy and light, photons and electrons, they make up this imaginary three-dimensional solid world, which doesn't exist at all according to relativity or quantum mechanics.
Anytime we attempt to look at particles beyond a certain level, the very act of observation changes things.
This means that deeply enough, when you dive down into the nature of matter, everything we know about the everyday world dissolves. There are no objects anymore. There are only relationships. There's no locality anymore. There's no time anymore. The more you look at something in detail, in what we think of as solid matter, the less and less solid it begins to look.
The only realities we know are the ones our brain manufactures. Our brain receives millions of signals every minute, and we organize them into holograms, which we project outside ourselves and call realities.
Tells us is that once matter is physically joined, even when it becomes separate, the energy is still there that's connecting it. And this is why it's important to me, because if we go back far enough in time, all the particles of matter of this entire universe that are expanding were all meshed together in a single particle about the size of a green pea, is what scientists tell us today, is what the computer models suggest. That if you could go into the universe today and take all the particles of matter and take out all the space in between and bring it together and compress it into a size of a single green pea, it means that you and me and every one of our listeners, we were all once part of that same particle that creates this whole universe today. And even though those particles are now separate and expanding, and studies show that they are, energetically we're all still linked.
Even though, when we're incarnated into human form, we lose the perspective of our bigger, more brilliant self. However, that energetic structure and high vibrational consciousness of your core being, or higher self, still exists. Come view the map of the energetic structure that holds both the denseness of distortion and the truth of wholeness. Watch how, as you learn to be the alchemist transforming the dense auric energy structure, you can shift and alter and balance all three of your mind, energy, and body systems, and thus more easily incarnate your spiritual wholeness core being into human form. You can empower yourself to be the alchemist of your life, shifting and transforming the particles of energy within you from lower vibrational consciousness of emotional pain, life challenge, negativity, and failure into high vibrational consciousness of wisdom, empowerment, joy, and positive creation.